So, what if the secret to a smarter AI isn't about stuffing it with more facts, but actually teaching it how to study? Well, today we're going to break down a brand new technique that does exactly that. It's all about turning a general know-it-all AI into a real, focused expert. And that really is the big question, isn't it? We've got these super powerful AIs that know a little bit about, well, everything. But what happens when you need an AI to be a specialist? An expert in something really complex like medicine or law or even just your own company's internal files. How do you actually pull that off? This gets us to the heart of the problem. See, the true test of this kind of intelligence isn't just about knowing all the things, it's about knowing what to ignore. The real challenge is teaching an AI how to find that one golden needle of information in a giant haystack of data. To really get our heads around this, the researchers behind this new method came up with this brilliant analogy. Just think about it like this. Turning an AI into a specialist is like prepping it for a really, really tough open book exam. Now, this isn't just any old open book test. It's a domain-specific one. That means the AI has access to all the textbooks, let's say a hospital's entire research library. But here's the catch. It's not allowed to use any of its own vast general knowledge from the internet. The goal is to get a perfect score using only the approved documents. So up until now, there were basically two main ways to get an AI ready for this kind of test. And honestly, both had some pretty big flaws. You can think of them as two different kinds of students, neither of whom you'd want on your team. Okay, so first up, you've got the crammer. This is basically standard fine-tuning. The AI spends all night memorizing the entire textbook, word for word. But the problem is, when the test starts, it's not allowed to look at the book. So it knows a ton of facts, but it really struggles to apply them to specific questions. Then you have the unprepared student. This is like a technique called RAG. This student brings the textbook to the exam, but they haven't studied it all, so they just frantically flip through the pages, getting totally lost and pointing to stuff that isn't even relevant. Yeah, neither one is a winning strategy. So clearly, we needed a better way to study. And that is exactly where this new technique called RAFT comes in. It stands for Retrieval Augmented Fine Tuning. RAFT is all about creating what we'll call a smart student. Instead of just memorizing things or showing up completely unprepared, this AI is trained on how to take an open book test. It actually practices finding the right information, using the documents it's given, and, most importantly, ignoring everything else. Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? How do you train an AI to become this smart student? The process is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly clever. It works like this. The training starts with a question. Then you give the AI a small handful of documents. Now, hidden in that pile is the one golden document that has the right answer. But, and this is the absolute key, you also throw in several distractor documents. These look relevant, they're on the right topic, but they don't actually answer the question. The AI's whole job is to learn how to find the answer in that golden document and just completely ignore all the noise. And that's the secret sauce right there. By intentionally training the AI with a mix of useful and useless stuff, you're forcing it to build that critical skill of discernment. It's not just learning what to look for, it's learning what to tune out. And that is what makes it so powerful when it's faced with a huge sea of information in the real world. But it's not quite enough for the AI to just find the right answer. It also has to prove how it got there. RAFT handles this by training the AI to use something called chain of thought reasoning. You're basically forcing it to show its work and explain its logic step by step. And here's a perfect example right from the research paper. The AI doesn't just spit out the answer deli. Nope, it actually points to the exact sentence from the source document that proves it, and it explains why that sentence contains the answer. It's just like a student showing their work on a math problem, and that makes the final answer so much more trustworthy. So the theory sounds pretty great, right? But did this smart student actually get better grades? Well, let's take a look at the report card. The difference is, well, it's staggering. On a really tough test called HotpotQA, the old methods, that combo of the crammer and the unprepared student, they scored a pretty dismal 4.4% accuracy. The RAF-trained model, over 35%. That is a massive, massive leap forward. Let me just put that in perspective for you. That is a performance jump of over 700%. This isn't just a small improvement. We're talking about a completely different league of performance here.
It just proves this is a fundamentally better way for an AI to learn this kind of task.
And let's look at what that actually means. When asked a simple question like, who was a screenwriter for the movie Evolution, the standard AI got all confused. It spit out the title of a totally different movie, The Family Man. But the RAFT AI, it nailed it. David Weissman. Why? Because it knew exactly how to find that specific fact and ignore all the distracting movie titles around it. Okay, so this is cool and all, but beyond just getting better test scores, what are the real-world implications here? Why should a smarter AI student matter to you and me? Well, for starters, it means we can build way more reliable, specialized AI assistants. I mean, imagine a doctor getting help from an AI that can accurately sift through thousands of medical journals, or a lawyer with an AI that genuinely understands the nuances of case law. It means you could actually trust an AI with your company's private knowledge base without worrying it's going to get confused. And crucially, this helps tackle one of the biggest headaches in AI today, hallucinations. Because RAFT forces every single answer to be backed up by a specific source, the AI is so much less likely to just make stuff up. It is a huge step towards AI we can actually trust.
So when you boil it all down, the big breakthrough here isn't just about feeding an AI more data. It's about teaching it the skill of learning, how to reason, how to focus, and how to ignore distractions. So that leaves us with a pretty exciting question. If we can teach an AI how to learn, what's left that it can't become an expert in? Thanks for tuning in.